Hi friends, welcome all to another episode of our online class. Last class we started The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, written by William Saroyan, an American Armenian writer. So William Saroyan once said, "What a lonely and silly thing it is to be an Armenian writer in America." We all know they are immigrants. They came from Turkey, and he's always written stories based on their life, the Armenian tribes. Here in this story also, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, two children, one Aram, the other is his cousin Morad. And one more interesting thing, William Saroyan's son's name is also Aram. So here in this story, last class we discussed one day when Aram was sleeping. At that time someone was tapping on the window. He opened the window. He saw his cousin Morad was there sitting on top of a horse, and he was really surprised, Aram, because Morad is considered as a crazy fellow by others except Aram. And Aram's dream is to ride a horse, but they belong to an Armenian tribe, Garaklanian family. And this family or this tribe is famous for their honesty and trust. For centuries, almost some 700 years or something, they were famous for such honesty and this trust. So now they are leading a life of poverty. It's very difficult for them to earn their livelihood. So for them to buy a horse is one of their wildest dreams. And now Morad was sitting on a white horse. So how he got that horse? That's a question in Aram's mind. So let's see how this happened. Consequently, even though I could see the horse, so magnificent, even though I could smell it, so lovely, even though I could hear it breathing, so exciting, I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Morad, or with me, or with any of the other members of our family, asleep or awake, because I knew my cousin Morad couldn't have bought the horse, and if he couldn't have bought it, must have stolen it, and I refused to believe he had stolen it. No member of the Garaklanian family could be a thief. So, consequently, even though I could see the horse so magnificent, so Aram, he looked the horse, it was magnificent, and even though I could smell it and lovely, and it was so exciting, I could hear it breathing, that horse, a healthy steed, and then I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Morad, or with me, or with any of the other members of our family. So this horse belonged to any of the family members. This horse belongs to someone else. No relation with Aram, Morad, or any other members of the family. And now, because I knew my cousin Morad couldn't have bought the horse, that's sure. Aram was sure that his cousin Morad, he couldn't buy a horse. It's very difficult because, as we have already said, they are living in utter poverty. And then the next possibility, if he couldn't have bought it, then it must have stolen it. Then that's the other possibility. If he couldn't have bought that horse, then it must have stolen it. But he refused to believe he had stolen it. But Aram couldn't believe that his cousin Morad would have stolen that horse, because no member of the Garaklanian family could be a thief. We have already said that Garaklanian family, or this Armenian tribe, they are famous for their trust and honesty. These are the hallmarks of their tribe. So I stared at stared first at my cousin and then at the house. There was a pious stillness and humor in each of them, which on the one hand delighted me and on the other hand frightened me. At first I stared at my cousin Murad. Then I stared at the house. It looks so strong. And there was a pious stillness in each of them. Murad and the house. And on the one hand, this sight delighted me, but on the other hand, this sight frightened me. I was delighted because it was my dream to ride a horse. But I was frightened because where did he take that horse? Or where did he bring that horse? That is the possibility. Probably he could have stolen it. That's why I was afraid, or he was frightened, because no member of the Galagnolian family could be a thief. Murad, I said, where did you steal this horse? So that was the question in his mind. He asked directly, Murad, where did you steal this horse? Leap out of the window, he said. Leap out means jump. Leap means jump. Jump out of the window. He said, if you want to ride. Murad replied with another question, if you want to ride. It was true then, he had stolen the horse. Then there was no question about it. He had come to invite me to ride or not, as I choose. Now I am sure he had stolen that horse. He had come there just to invite Aram to ride that horse, because he knew my dream. Well, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money. For all I knew, maybe it wasn't stealing at all. If you were crazy about horse the way my cousin Murad and I were, it wasn't stealing. It wouldn't become stealing until we offered to sell the horse, which of course I knew we would never do. Now, Aram was sure his cousin Murad had stolen that horse. That's why he tried to find some justification. That's why he said, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money. So stealing a horse just to ride, it is not same as someone who is stealing money. So in a broader sense, all are same, stealing a horse or stealing some money. But here he tried to find out some justification. So in order to satisfy his mind, because in the depth of his mind the thought is there, no one in the Galagnolian family could be a thief. That's why he tried to find out some justification. So it is different to steal a horse for riding, and it is or someone who steals some money. These are entirely different. For all I knew, maybe it wasn't stealing at all. If you were crazy about horses, the way my cousin Murad and I were, it wasn't stealing. Both of them were crazy about horse, to ride a horse, Aram and Murad. So that's why Murad had stolen that horse. So it is entirely different. It wasn't stealing. Who thought? Aram thought. And it wouldn't become stealing until we offered to sell the horse. So we never offer this horse to anyone, or we never tried to sell this horse, which of course I knew we would never do. I'm sure we would never do, because we like to ride the horse. We don't want to sell the horse. So it is entirely different. That is, now he believes, who? Aram. And let me put on some clothes, I said. Put on is a phrase which means to wear. Dharikia. So let me put on some clothes, I said. All right, he said, but hurry. Murad said, okay, all right, but hurry. I leaped into my clothes. So the writer here, he said, I leaped into my clothes. Leaped means jumped again. Because of the excitement, for the first time in his life, he is going to ride a horse. That's why I leaped into my clothes and I jumped down the yard from the window and leaped up onto the horse behind my cousin Murad. And after that, I jumped out of the window and then jumped on top of the horse behind my cousin Murad. That year we lived at the edge of the town on Walnut Avenue. Behind our house was the country, vineyards, orchards, irrigation ditches, and country roads. In less than 3 minutes, we were on Olive Avenue. And then the horse began to trot. The air was new and lovely to breathe. The feel of the horse running was wonderful. My cousin Murad, who was considered one of the craziest members of our family, began to sing. He began to roar. So, that year we lived at the edge of the town on Walnut Avenue. So, they are leading a life of gypsies, like gypsies we said. So, they are the immigrants. So, here, that year we lived at the edge of the town where on Walnut Avenue. And behind our house there was the country. Country means village. And there the vineyards, vineyards, then orchards, and then irrigation ditches. Ditch means kidang chal. So irrigation ditches and country roads. In less than 3 minutes, we were on Olive Avenue. In less than 3 minutes, we reached Olive Avenue. And then the horse began to trot. Trot means move fast. The air was new and lovely to breathe. Early morning, the air was clean. It's lovely to breathe. And the feel of the horse running was wonderful. So, feel of the horse running on the back of a horse, it was something amazing. And my cousin Murad, who was considered one of the craziest members of our family, began to sing. And who is riding that horse? Murad, my cousin. And I am sitting behind him on top of that horse. And this fellow, my cousin Murad, was considered as one of the craziest fellows or craziest members in our family. And he began to sing. He began to roar. He began to sing means he was not like Yeshudas or something or someone. He, in his own voice, he tried to sing, but for others it's like someone who is roaring. And then every family has a crazy streak in it somewhere. And my cousin Murad was considered in the natural descendant of the crazy streak in our tribe. So every family has a crazy streak in it somewhere. So in every family, a crazy fellow like Murad is there. And my cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of the crazy streak in our tribe. In our tribe, Garglonian family, one crazy streak was almost there. That was our uncle Khosrow. And all other members considered my cousin Murad is a natural descendant of our uncle Khosrow. Descendant means Pindurarcha. Allengil Adayatinte Pindurarchakaran. Adayatha pole same nature as Khosrow. Uncle Khosrow. My cousin Murad, he is just like my uncle Khosrow. One of the craziest fellows in our family. An enormous man, our uncle Khosrow. Khosrow, an enormous man with a powerful head of black hair and the largest mustache in the San Joaquin Valley. A man so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring, "It's no harm, pay no attention to it." So that sort of a fellow was his uncle Khosrow. So, Uncle Khosrow, an enormous man, enormous, big, and then with a powerful head of black hair and the largest mustache in San Joaquin Valley. He has such a largest mustache. Have you seen the photographs of William Saroyan? He belongs to an Armenian tribe. Look at his mustache. And this Uncle Khosrow, he has the largest mustache in San Joaquin Valley. San Joaquin, one of the long interior valleys of California, America. And he was a man so furious in temper, short-tempered fellow, and so irritable and so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring. He always interfered when someone talking. He roared at them these words. It's no harm, pay no attention to it. These are the words he often repeats to everybody who tried to speak with him. Because he's impatient, he's short-tempered. It's no harm, pay no attention to it. Such a crazy fellow was Khosrow. And this Aram's cousin Murad is considered as the natural descendant of Uncle Khosrow. So, in the next episode of our story, how they ride the horse and what are the consequences awaiting there for Aram and Murad, and the introduction of their uncle Khosrow. Still more to come, that we will discuss in our next class. Okay friends, before winding up today's session, last class I asked the question, who started the Pulitzer Prize? And the answer is, it was by Joseph Pulitzer, an American, very famous American publisher, and it started in 1917. I got some correct answers and I am very happy. And now today's question. We are studying the story, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, written by William Saroyan. He had written many stories, novels, and some of them became movies. And now my question is, from which book this story has taken? This story, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, this extract or this part has taken from his book, a famous book written by William Saroyan. Find out the name of that book written by William Saroyan. You can easily find out. The clue is there in this story. One of the characters' name is the clue. Find out the correct answer. Find out the name of that book and send me. Until then, it's bye and have a nice day. Thank you.